All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to this individual once again. Been a little while, but we got some big news coming up. We have a championship fight, the TOFC featherweight title. Tarps Off Fight Club coming out with their inaugural event. It goes down on December the 18th, and we have Eric Wilson and Michael Imperato testing skills. And to reiterate, happy to be talking to Michael once again. How does it feel to be having a fight coming up, man? I imagine that's a good feeling.
It's the way things are going with COVID and everything. It's nice to have something on the line for sure. It's been a little while longer than I wanted. But yeah, fight time's always a good time. Brings everyone together. Something to look forward to, something to work for. So definitely excited for sure.
Yeah, you say a little a little while more than you had wanted there. I imagine. I mean, at some point there probably would have been some frustration just with getting back-to-back victories there, and then all of a sudden the world gets shut down less than a week after we spoke last there. So was there a level of frustration that set in with all of that? And if so, how did you kind of subvert that, I guess, and get beyond it?
Well, I mean, after my last one, I actually it was bad timing. COVID came and a lot of other things were going on in the world that kind of held me back from some stuff, but I actually went out to the States in October of 2020, and I was out there for a few months. So I was at Disney World twice. I was traveling. I was in Florida. I was in Vegas. I cornered Malcolm out there when we were in Vegas in July. So I was actually there twice. I was there November, and then again in July. And in between, I was in Florida. I got a lot of training. I got my U.S. visa. I was hoping to get a short notice fight with the UFC. But yeah, just timing. Everything was slow, obviously with COVID and all that. And timing just didn't work out. So I was really motivated for a little bit, and then I got super demotivated, and then came back about August, and the Extreme Couture, I took over the grappling program there. So I've been teaching, been working with a lot of guys. So I definitely had my mind back in the game, and definitely excited to just put on the line, just to to be a good influence to everyone else and let them know, dedication, hard work, and what it takes, So, there's a lot of ups and downs, but right now it's going smooth.
Yeah, and happy to hear you're able to get back to Extreme Couture to teach, and just also as an extension that people are allowed to come back and train. Just unfortunate period with, that not being allowed to be a thing, but must feel awesome to be able to get back to teaching people technique at Extreme Couture there.
Yeah, so back in the day, it was always my coach, Sam Zakula, who ran the program. And then we left there years ago, and I was still sticking around for a bit with my buddy who was kickboxing coach, Paulo Pekovic. He actually just recently got diagnosed with cancer, and he went back home to Croatia, and he's out there getting some treatments and stuff. So he hasn't been around, and that's why I was sticking around Extreme before. And just the people, they're like family. One owner, Doug Urch, has been around my life for a long time, and I was trying to get my coach back there. So middle of everything, but just trying to build everything back to how it used to be, and it's a slow process, but I think it's coming along, and that's my overall goal, just to build my team up again. So moving forward, I have a lot to look forward to. Just the right minds, the right bodies, the right people, and I think it should be good. So yeah, everyone's training again, everything's open again, and that's the goal now. I taught the kids program years ago there, and now I'm teaching the adults, and there's a lot of young kids that are coming up to the class to participate, and it's a lot of fun. It's very motivating, and I'm excited to see them adapt some of the things that I have to teach and put into their arsenal, and move forward with that. So there's definitely a lot of good things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've talked to certain fighters who teach technique, and it seems to inform their own deeper understanding of the technique that they can use in more of a competitive kind of framework. Have you noticed that in your efforts teaching people, just speaking it out loud and showing the technique, you almost develop a more comprehensive understanding of that technique? Is that sort of a thing for you?
Yeah, I've always had a very detailed coach. My coach is very, very detailed on everything. So I grew up around that. When I used to when he taught, and I used to, he would most times show technique on me or whoever else that was there. But so I would always be firsthand right there, listening, learning, seeing all of it, and then teaching. I was able to reteach it and reiterate it. And sometimes you catch yourself, you miss a detail or something, but you remind yourself. So yes, that does happen for sure. But again, you go over so many different things that maybe you wouldn't have if it was just your own training, right? So having a great coach is one thing, and also being a good coach and going over details is also another. So having a combination of both would definitely be the best. But yeah, if I had to pick either, anything's better than nothing, you know. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And like just a bit earlier, talking about the time training in Florida and Vegas, I'm kind of curious to get maybe a bit more specifics on that, and as far as like the gyms you were able to get to, and also some of the people you were able to like spar with and refine technique with, and all that.
Yeah, so out in Vegas, good friends of mine, Jerry Shapiro and his brother Shane Shapiro, they're the black belts over at Syndicate MMA with John Wood over there. They have a good program. They run a great jiu-jitsu program. They have good MMA sparring there all the time, so I've always looked forward to that. I would jump in the no-gi class, and then I would jump in their class. My friend Boom actually just passed away recently. Because of him, I met Robert Drysdale, and he was always a great guy to me. I always looked up to him, a lot of good knowledge from him. So I always make it a point to go train over there. And so I bounced around between there and Syndicate. And also my friend Boom was at Extreme Couture, so I also got to train over there, when I was out there. So that was good. A lot of big names that you'll see out there. I didn't really train with too many big names. I trained more with like the people around. But you got to mix and match, and you got to see what's going on in the room, and kind of feel each other out and how this guy did with that guy, and I was going this guy, whatever. But it was nice, good atmosphere, good energy, great people. And then in Florida, I actually have a place in Jupiter. My grandfather does, and I've been going there for years. But I've always been out there for tournaments, never for training or living there. I used to go out as a kid with my parents, and then when I started fighting, I just never really traveled much unless it was around fighting. So I ran into Joel Scarola, who was Matt Serra's first black belt. He has a school in New York and also in Jupiter, and he had a great group of guys and girls that we got to train with. And great dude, very welcoming, and I got to jump in a lot of those classes and train with him and some of his students. Was really fun and motivating and kept my mind in the game. And then I also met Ben Stark. So I believe he was an Ultimate Fighter years ago. He's from ATT, and he opened up an affiliate in West Palm Beach. I actually believe he took over. I don't know which two guys it was. I can't remember the exact names. I know Marlon Moraes and somebody else. So they had a gym, and they closed down or sold it to him, and he took over that program. So we had a lot of new faces, but we also had some guys coming and going from ATT headquarters. A lot of new guys, up-and-comers, but all very talented, a lot of good dudes. I can start naming them, but I'll be here all day. But every single one of them was a great dude, very talented. He was a good instructor. And what I liked was a lot of my game was similar to his. Slight different details, but the theories and the ideas and techniques were kind of similar. So I adapted to them real quick. And again, great people and motivating. I had a good time with them as well. So.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And just, I imagine a similar sentiment could be attached to Extreme Couture Toronto. Just like no shortage of great people you get and work with there. But is that like the sole base of operations for this one? Is there any, I guess, cross-training with some of the other Ontario gyms at all, or sole Extreme Couture Toronto work going on for this one?
Yeah, so, with me, I've always been, staying around, my coach and our teammates, and wherever we were, we all just train together kind of deal.
Yeah.
Being at Extreme, especially since he left, I'm not going to say there's a huge segregation, but there's a little bit. It's kind of like a big box gym, going to Syndicate in Vegas or going to Extreme Couture in Vegas. You guys kind of go to their own crew. There's a couple kickboxers, a couple boxers, an MMA guy, jiu-jitsu guy, and everyone kind of adapts to each other, gets along with each other. So I don't really train with everybody there. I kind of have my own little group that I train with. Most of the guys are kind of my students. But, all in all, it's a great atmosphere, a great environment. It's a great facility, has everything there. So, it's definitely motivating, keeping our mind sharp, and I'm excited to go to the gym every day. It's a fun place to be. So I do that. But also, I've trained at other small gyms in Ontario that they've been great places as well. A lot of good people, especially some of the older guys in the sport, like a Gringo Fernando Zulik. I used to train at his place once in a while, and he was a great guy, a lot of great partners for me. Recently I helped Malcolm with a Toronto top team with Ainsley, and I knew Ainsley for years. He's a great dude, solid wrestler, a lot of good information, and he has a bunch of good jiu-jitsu guys there. I got to train with them, and we had a great time and good people. So, I think in the sport, anywhere you go, you're probably going to have good things to say about everybody, but it's just about being comfortable, location, routine, kind of stuff like that. So, at Couture, I kind of have all of that. Comfortable with the owners. I can be there anytime. I have a key to the place. You know, if I gotta work out, use the sauna, whatever, whoever I gotta bring in, kind of whatever I need is there. So it's like home. So it's very convenient for myself. But you know, I think everywhere is great. Just there is great for me. You know.
Yeah, and you talk about location in the sense of like the gyms, but location in terms of where you've been for different fights. It seems like, you know, Niagara region is a little bit unexplored, at least in like a professional MMA context. Like, I mean, obviously experience all throughout this nation of ours here, but like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, are you excited about getting to compete Niagara region? I mean, you competed relatively close. Like, I mean, Slammer and the Hammer, like general kind of like proximity, like not a huge distance away per se, but like what are your thoughts on getting to compete for, you know, the Niagara region faithful in this next one?
Yeah, so it kind of broke up a little bit there, but my thoughts on fighting in like in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've only been lucky enough to fight twice in Ontario. One being Slammer and the Hammer, which was great. It's only a 45-minute hour drive from my house, so to me that's home. And then recently on prospect fighting in Toronto, which is again half-hour opposite direction, is downtown Toronto. But again, close. That's home. Niagara for me is it's around the corner. I used to go out there a lot. I like to go to a casino out there. You know, a lot of good places, a lot of good friends. You know, my buddies own the cabana out there, so I used to go there and you know, great place for dinner and entertainment and stuff. So Niagara for me is around the corner. I have a lot of family and friends coming out. And for me, it's home. Anywhere in Ontario is home. Even, you know, traveling to Montreal and Ottawa when I fought out there, you know, 4 to 6 hour drive, that was kind of home as well. When you start fighting the States and certain people can't come and, you know, and a little bit more things, you can't figure things out and, you know, you can't get places and, you know, car rentals and buses and shuttles and that stuff starts, you know, dragging on you. But, I mean, anywhere in Canada, you know, to me, it always felt like home. Doesn't matter Alberta, Montreal, here.
Yeah, it seems like a good sort of area for like if you want to do like an after party kind of thing, I would imagine. Like no shortage of options if that's how you're inclined to celebrate.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's always like it's all a party, you know, beginning to end, before, during, after. It keeps going. It's always good people, and the more people I can ever have around, the better. You know, obviously a lot of good people are around, and it brings everyone together. You know, so I enjoy doing it. I enjoy having everyone around. I enjoy when it's close. But yeah, Niagara is definitely a great little small town that has a lot of cool things to do. And, you know, for COVID right now, you know, a lot of people from the States will be back and forth, right? The border's right there. I know the drinking age here is younger than over there. So, you know, a lot of people would come over to, like, you know, it's a good place to be. It's a good thing to build on. Definitely lacking MMA events everywhere, you know. But Niagara and Toronto are definitely two great cities that have them there for sure.
And I just kind of wanted to briefly touch on that last fight because it seemed like when you were talking about some of the previous fights, there was almost like a certain like particular importance being, you know, so close to the venue and everything like that. And even for me in like the media kind of capacity, like there was just a certain feeling after that event, just with the, you know, history in Ontario too. Like it seemed like MMA becoming legal was such a thing and so many hurdles since then, but there's just such like a feeling that I had after that event, like a big show, known venue in Toronto. Like, how did you feel after that? I can only imagine it was that much more pronounced, just being that you got to compete on an event like that and emerge with a win.
Yeah, sorry, again, breaking out a little bit, but yeah, before that fight, it was a lot of excitement. Everyone was coming around because it was close. You know, after the event, I had a lot of close friends. I had a hotel right around the corner. I had a nice suite over there. So I had a lot of people come by, hang out. I actually, after the little after party from the hotel really was done, kids passed out in their room. My wife passed out in their room. My dad was there. They passed out. And then my friends actually own a nightclub in Toronto. They were at the event. They went out, and I sent some of my buddies, my cornermen, and some of the guys were hanging out with me to that nightclub to go party. Everyone had a great time, and I just kind of sat in the hotel room, and I rewatched the fight a couple times. I enjoyed the moment. It was a great video. It was a great stream. It was a great event. And then Jamie actually came by. Jamie Champion was in the hotel as well. He came by later on, and we watched the fight together and talked a little bit. And yeah, it was great. And for me, that was perfect. You know, I definitely enjoyed it.
Oh, it's awesome to hear. And yeah, Jamie Champion, a great guy. So awesome to hear he came over and you guys had that moment there. But, you know, you mentioned the kids in there and just the last couple of victories there. You had your kids in the cage there, and just a real heartwarming kind of visual. It looked like an awesome sort of thing. Are we going to be seeing a similar kind of dynamic with this next one? Are we going to be seeing the young Imperato kids in the cage for this next one if you have your druthers?
Yeah, so the kids are my family. They're part of me. They're my life. My wife as well. So, my first fight, my daughter was, she was 3 months, and that was at TKO when I fought Xavier Alloway. She was there. And then when I fought in London, my son was just born. He was actually his 1 month birthday. So he was in the cage. My daughter was there as well. And then my last fight, they were both cage side. They both came out. So they'll definitely be at the next one. They're both a little bit older now. My daughter's almost 5. My son is 2. So he's starting to talk a little bit. My daughter is like a grown woman. She'll be 5 in January. But unbelievable vocabulary. They're both super cute, adorable, both really smart. And for me, I mean, anything I can do to have them around or bring them around, I'm going to do it. And, if I can give them the mic, that's what I'm going to do, So I'm going to go over there, give them a little bit of motivation, bring them in, get the win, grab that microphone, let them talk a little bit on there, and just have a great exposure. It's a great moment, and I'll relive that moment in my head over and over again for the rest of my life. So that's very important to me, and it's something that's it's a must.
Yeah, and you mentioned like they're still, getting older for sure, but still fairly young in a certain sense. I guess I say that because I'm wondering if they've, indicated any level of interest in wanting to, practice martial arts themselves, or if it's maybe still a little too early for just even that kind of conversation. Maybe they're not thinking that way as much about it.
Sorry, you cut out there. I know it was a little bit long, but I didn't hear much of it.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, like, if your kids are entertaining, like maybe doing martial arts themselves, they're still maybe even too young at this juncture.
So my daughter was in the gym. We had to shoot my first kid, obviously, and my wife. So when she was at the gym, I think we waited about a week or two just because of germs and stuff. We were real cautious before we brought her to the gym. And then my son, he was I think day 2, so he was there in his car seat. They've been around the gym forever. When we're in Florida, my daughter jumped in a couple classes at the Gracie Jupiter spot there. So they're always around it. They love it. They're also, people. So they're always talking, engaging with people, adults. They love the excitement. They love just being around entertainment and everything that we're doing. So, they're still young. They still enjoy it. I'm not sure if they know exactly what's what right now, but, they're like the center of attention. When we watch it, we rewatch the videos or see the pictures, they get really excited. They point themselves out and like, oh, there I am. There's Daddy. There's me. There's Michael. So, it's definitely very memorable and very exciting for me to see them be excited about it later,
Yeah, that's awesome to hear for sure, man. I wanted to get some insights on the upcoming fight, though. Just your thoughts on, Eric Wilson, like what his main tools are, like the main stylistic proclivities he brings to the table that you've noticed.
Yeah, so with Eric, I don't really watch much on anybody, any of my opponents. I just down to fight whoever, wherever, whenever. My game kind of structured to fight anybody. It's just a mental adjustment I got to make in my head. So it's my whole life I've had last minute replacements or cancellations, so I've always trained that way. Just I don't train for anyone. I just train to fight. I think Eric has been around for a long time. His record isn't great, but doesn't take anything away from him. I think he's definitely very talented. I don't think he's been finished, or maybe once. But a lot of his fights go a distance. He's had a lot of championship fights, a lot of 5-round fights where I had him. So there's a lot of ups and downs. But him directly, I think he brings it, he pushes it. He's down to throw down. He's down to grapple. He's definitely a tough guy to finish. So it's going to be an interesting, fun fight for sure. And I make sure I beat him wherever we are, and I'll be all right.
Yeah, you'd be in a good position in many regards, too. Just you'd then have a 3-fight winning streak and a shiny championship belt, too.
Yeah, I look at it like, my career right when it was at the peak, I was 7-1. UFC called, gave me a contract, then it got rescinded, and I went through a lot. Took some short notice fights, had a couple bullshit decisions that I thought, but either way, I lost one and never thought it would happen. Lost a second, never thought that would happen. lost a third because of a cut, which is a very horrible decision and never got overturned or whatever because they wouldn't go based on videos. So a lot of things happened. Man, I was at a real low spot. And, I came back and I said I wanted just to fight one more time, and then, most likely I would retire. And that was just to show that I beat the sport didn't beat me. But then I wanted to fight again, and I did, and then I won. And now it's like, all right, if I win again, we're back in the picture of the UFC, this and that. So now this fight is going to be 3. So I lost 3, I won 2 since the peak of my career. So I win this one, in my eyes, I'm back to even, and then we'll go from there, right? The belt is always great to have. This one, I think, from what I was told, Eric couldn't make 35, so they want to do it at 45. So to me, I'm not a featherweight. I'm a 35er. I make 35 real easy. The weight's never been hard for me. And I enjoy making weight, and I feel like I'm a better fighter at that weight. I'm world class at that weight. And also, moving forward, I'm not going to be fighting at 45. I can fight at 35. So, the belt's great, but I'm not going to be a champ at 45. I'll collect it. I'll hang it up on my Christmas tree for Christmas or whatever. Great picture. Add it to the collection. But, yeah, that's about it. It's more about getting third win, erase those 3 losses, and then continue from there,
Yeah, that was going to be my kind of follow-up point there, just with then having the 3-fight winning streak, and you mentioned wanting to take a short notice UFC fight earlier, in the 2020 kind of space you alluded to there. So I imagine a 3-fight win streak would, facilitate that, kind of bring you back in a sense to that earlier career stretch when you were 7-1, there was the momentum, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so with the UFC, I mean, it's kind of hard. They don't really tell you much. They just call you or they don't call you. They don't really tell you what to do. They don't tell you if you're going to have a shot, if you're not going to have a shot. But kind of keeping in contact for me is always a little bit of hope. Goes a fucking long way. Sorry for my language. But I've been living off a little bit of hope for a while. So, I got my visa. That's one thing. I'm on a win streak. That's the second thing. I'm just not active. I haven't fought since last year, March. So in their eyes, I don't look active. So, get a win, be active, 3-fight win streak. I think we're on a good path here. So I'm gonna go out there, do what I gotta do, and then I never look past a fight. I always look at this, and in my eyes, Eric Wilson's this fight, and I visualize every situation, and I definitely I know he has power in his hands, and anything can happen. So I'm very aware of all of it. I'm going to focus on this fight, but moving forward, after I beat him up, it's going to be a good position for me. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. I get what you're saying. It's something I've wanted to ask you for a little bit, never really got the chance to, but I was noticing a while ago there was some tweets going on from, Santino Marella, really repping the Imperato t-shirt and stuff like that. It looked like he used to train at Battle Arts years back. What's the connection and kind of backstory with Santino Marella, a.k.a. Anthony Corelli?
Yeah, so Santino's a great dude. When we left Extreme Couture, we trained at Battle Arts for a little bit. My coach, Sam DeCool, was teaching the program there, and that's where we met Santino. Super nice, very welcoming. We trained a little bit. Program wasn't really going. The budget was kind of tough, so they kind of, made the program smaller, and then Sam kind of stepped away at that time. But while we were there, I actually fought Blue Ars and RSA, whatever, in Fun Atlantic City, and Santino came out there, and he traveled with us and trained, and we've always been in touch till now. We still communicate back and forth, and he's always been a nice guy, and he has a great big following, and I mean, whenever I can make a post, and then he can tag along or share it, I think it goes a long way for me on the social media. So he's always been great in that sense. But yeah, I mean, we met at the gym, just training, and I think we'll always be in touch for life. Just a solid dude, and always does well, and he helps out when he can. So.
Yeah, is he going to be coming to this next fight, or has he not specified?
Yeah, so we haven't talked about tickets or anything like that. I know he moved a little further north. He has a family now, so we haven't really talked much about that. I mean, the last event, I think he was going to come. Something came up. I don't remember. But yeah, I didn't reach out. We don't hang out like we used to. But we still talk. Make sure everything's going well here and there. Whenever we post a picture of our kids or whatever it is, stuff like that, right? So more small talk, but we always keep in touch. But yeah, I haven't reached out about it. So.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I get what you're laying down in that sense. But you've been really good with your time, man, and you mentioned the busy schedule a bit earlier, so I don't want to be chatting your ear off too much. But is there anything you might want to kind of add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up, Mike? It's been great to talk to you a bit.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate your time, and yeah, definitely busy schedule. I'm actually just on the way back. I was training with Bazooka Joe, so I met him when I was training with Malcolm. I knew of him for years, and my coach Sam always told me to go train with him. Just making a drive over there and a commitment, and I've always had an excuse, and fighting every 15, 16 months was never really motivating to be in shape all year round or train all the time or make all these extra sacrifices when I never believed in myself that I would ever be anywhere. My coach did, and he always advised me. It is what it is. Years later, because of Malcolm and training out there in Vegas and the trip, we made good friends. Also, his buddy Matt Special, the Bearded Bites nutritionist, so I worked with him, and they're good buddies. So now we're all working together and training, and he's helped me a lot, and he's given me his time. So that's very important to me, especially with the mental and having someone that I look up to and believing in me. I mentioned my buddy Polo Kikovic, who I was doing kickboxing with. He's back home in Croatia, so definitely not trying to replace nobody. I'm just adding to the arsenal and adding a crew. I never just cut people out. I always just try and make the party bigger. So hoping that my buddies with recovery, and hopefully he can get back here and we can all party together and keep training. But I really want to thank Joe and Matt for their time, for everything they've done. I'm talking to my coach, Sam Zakula, a lot. He's also the best man at my wedding, lifetime type of friend. Trying to get him back in the gym, but in the moment, just busy schedule over there, and we're working on it. But we've been in contact and communication, and always talking to him is always great. Definitely good for my head, puts me in the right place, and gets my mindset right. Extreme Couture for facility, a place to train, and giving me a job, and making things easy, and basically whatever I need to do for sparring or have people come in, or doors always open. So Doug Ertz does a lot for me. I really appreciate him, along with the staff is there as well. They have the physio clinic there, and a couple people that I worked with, and Jerry and Nina that run it, and just people that look up to me and motivate me and help push me every day and make me realize that there's still a dream on the line. The manager, Steve, so all these people play like a big role in my mental game, which is very important. So yeah, I definitely always shout out to all of them. There's a million more, but in the meantime, we'll keep it short and sweet. I just want to thank everybody, and I had I mentioned it, but my buddy Boom passed away in August. Solid dude, really good friend of mine. He's actually in the picture holding my daughter when I fought in London. When I fought Mike McAloon, he came out for a couple camps. Had a really freak story. It was he was big. A lot of people mentioned the UFC and stuff, but he was an amazing dude, amazing guy. So now it's kind of surreal. But yeah, moving forward, I always have him in my thoughts, my prayers, my mind. And I gotta keep moving forward to make the dream, because we both had the same dream, and we both pushed and dedicated a lot. So I think right now in my life, I gotta just continue the dream and do it for everyone. But definitely not gonna stop repping him, or definitely not gonna forget about him. So just want to shout out everybody out. Love all these people, and yeah, bro. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it, and I look forward to putting on a show in a few weeks.
Yeah, my condolences to your, departed friend and everybody affected by that. But, it seems like you're, learning from it in a certain regard. Like you said, it's like you both want to, keep advancing, moving on. And you seem in a really great place on a lot of levels, just mentally, spiritually, etc. So really excited, even more so, to see this bout with Tarps Off Fight Club coming up, and people can check that out going down on December the 18th in the Niagara region. And yeah, thanks so much for the time again, man. Looking forward to being there and checking out the fight and everything, and you have a good rest of your day as well.
Really appreciate that, and you too, brother.